This ordinary differential equation is a Bernoulli equation. Doesn't quite look like it yet, but let's take a look here. So we have y prime, y prime. The p of x term is minus 1 over x, and then times y equals the g of x is a negative x squared, and the y to the n is this 1 over y cubed. So it's still a power. It's y 1 over y cubed is y to the negative 3. So the n here is negative 3. All right, so now let's go through our normal substitutions. So we have u is equal to y to the 1 minus n. Well, that's y to the 1 minus negative 3, so it ends up being y to the 4th. Take the derivative, we get u prime is equal to 4y cubed y prime. Solving for y prime, we get u prime over 4y cubed is equal to y prime. We're also going to need y just by itself equals some things with u. So right, this is the same. We have u equals y to the 4th, but that's the same as y times y cubed. And so to get y by itself, we can have u over y cubed equals y. All right, so that's the trick to Bernoulli equations. So now we're going back to the original. So we have y prime minus 1 over x times y equals negative x squared over y cubed. And looks like I ran out of room there, so I'll go up here. So right, I've got y prime. I'm going to substitute with u prime over 4y cubed. So u prime over 4y cubed minus 1 over x. I'm going to substitute the y for u over y cubed. So we've got u over y cubed equals negative x squared, and we're going to leave this y cubed alone. And right, so here's the trick. Everything has a 1 over y cubed term in it, so we can multiply everything by y cubed, and we'll end up with a much nicer looking differential equation. So 1/4 u prime minus 1 over x times u is equal to negative x squared. So this one looks like we can solve with method of integrating factor. So that's going to be we have to normalize it first, right? That quarter shouldn't be there. So multiply the entire equation by 4. We'll end up with u prime minus 4 over x. U is equal to negative 4x squared. So now our integrating factor, write e indefinite integral of this term in front of the u. So the negative 4 over x dx. Well, that ends up equaling e to the negative 4, 1 over x turns into natural log, absolute value of x. And then you can combine that into e to the natural log, x, absolute value x to the negative 4th. And right, we could drop the absolute values for the integrating factor, and we can cancel out the natural log, and then it ends up just being x to the negative 4th. Right, we also lost the plus c. We can ignore that for the integrating factor. So our integrating factor is x to the negative 4th. Multiply the entire ODE by it. So we have x to the negative 4th times u prime minus, we have 4 times 1, x to the negative 1 times x to the negative 4th. So that should be 4 x to the negative 5. Then over here we have x to the negative 4th times x to the positive 2. That should be negative 4x to the negative 2. All right, so now we can do reverse product rule. So here we've got x to the negative 4 times u, whole thing prime. I'm leaving some space for a dx equals, I'll leave some space for an integral, negative 4x to the negative 2. Now we can integrate both sides with respect to x. Right, the indefinite integral and the derivative essentially cancel. We get x to the negative 4 times u equals, so this one here, we still have our negative 4. This one, right, you increment the power, so it's going to end up being x to the power 1. To kind of cancel out the power later, we need a negative 1 in front. Then we have our plus c. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify that. So we have x to the negative 4 times u equals positive 4 x to the negative 1 plus c. Then let's multiply everything by x to the positive 4 to get rid of the x to the negative 4 here. So we end up with u equals 4x cubed plus c times x to the 4th. Right, so we solved for u, but now we need to go back and actually figure out what y is. So right, u way back when was y to the 4th. So it's not too bad. So we have y to the 4th is equal to 4x cubed plus c x to the 4th. So if we take the fourth root here, that's going to mean y of x equals, we do need a plus or minus, square root, actually sorry, fourth root, or if you want you can write it as plus or minus, you know, with parentheses, to the 1/4 power. Right, those are the same, and it's in both of them it's 4x cubed plus cx to the 4th, and write it again down here, it's the same thing, just a different way to write it, 4x cubed plus cx to the 4th to the 1/4 power. And there we go, we've solved the Bernoulli equation. On to the next one.